Today's themed EDH deck tech is taking us out to sea. We're pairing Malcolm Keen-Eyed Navigator with Breeches Brazen Plunder for a Drunken Pirates tribal themed deck. This deck is brought to you by the wonderful members of our Discord server, so make sure to join in on the voting by using the link below. The main purpose of today's deck is to play out as many pirates as we can and swing in big, as a lot of the cards we have give us benefits from dealing combat damage. The deck is also running some cards that aren't necessarily needed or good, but fit perfectly with the theme. Now if you enjoyed today's video, the best thing that you could do for me is like it and subscribe to Comic Command. Also, be sure to visit our Patreon page to see the various benefits we offer for our supporters. Lastly, stay for the end of the video so you can learn about Comic Command's very first live stream on February 13th, 11:30 AM. Like any other deck tech, we're going to start off with some ramp. Sword of the Animus will get us a basic land when the equipped creature attacks, and Curse of Opulence will reward us with treasure whenever the cursed player is attacked. Everflowing Chalice, a drunken sailor's best friend, can be kicked in increments of 2 to net us some mana. But we've got more mana rocks with Felwar Stone, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Creativity, Pill of Origins, Soul Ring, and Izzet Signet. But let's continue sailing as we move into the deck's card draw. Font of Mythos costs 4 generic but allows each player to draw 2 additional cards on their upkeep. But more importantly, it's also another item our drunken sailors use to drink from. Rhystic Study is your classic tax enchantment that will net us some cards the more opponents cast spells. Stolen Strategy will exile each opponent's top card on our upkeep to play for turn, essentially drawing us 3 cards and fitting perfect into the pirate stealing theme. Outpost Siege worked very similar as it exiles a card from our library each turn to play for that turn. Vanquisher's Banner will draw us a card each time we cast a pirate, and Windfall will basically have everyone wheel and draw equal to the greatest number of cards discarded. Last up, we have some more combat based draw with Jace Cunning Castaway, Kindred Discovery, Coastal Piracy, Reconnaissance Mission, and Biden of Thassa. They give us a card each time our own creatures deal combat damage to a player. Now with our basic setup out of the way, it's time to see what our crew is looking like. Malcolm Keen-Eyed Navigator and Breeches Brazen Plunder are our captains of the ship, and they reward us with ramp and card draw for dealing damage. Zara Renegade Recruiter is another pirate that cares about attacking, as it will steal a creature from a defending player's hand when it attacks, making our pirate crew just a bit bigger. Captain Vargas Wrath will pump our pirates when attacking with +1/+1 equal to the number of times we've cast our commanders this game. Corsive Recruiter will straight up steal a creature from our opponent until end of turn, but Captivating Crew is probably the best creature stealing card in the deck. All we need to do is pay 3 generic mana and a red to take a creature from our opponents. Heading back to combat, Captain Lanry Storm will net us a treasure for attacking, while Port Razor will give us an extra combat step for dealing combat damage. Siren Storm Tamer and Stormfleet Sprinter are evasive hitters that can help trigger our combat based effects, while Amberwild Captain will make us the Monarch. Azure Fleet Admiral and Crimson Fleet Commodore will also make us the Monarch, really piling up on the combat theme. Corsair Captain will pump all our pirates by +1/+1, and Hull Breacher will stop our opponents from drawing extra cards. Now we've got a couple more pirates in the deck, but let's shift our focus to the vehicles our pirates will be crewing, because after all, it wouldn't be a pirate deck without some ships. Constellate Dreadnought can be a 7/11 creature for 1 mana as long as we have the crewing power, while Dusk Legion Dreadnought is a more modest 4/6 for 5 generic mana. Fell Flagship will make our opponents discard cards upon taking combat damage, and Silent Submersible, although not a ship, will draw some cards for dealing damage. I like to think of it as our pirates evolving and taking the path below to truly take advantage over our opponents. While on the topic of theme-fitting cards, let's dive more into the artifacts that have our sailors intoxicated. We've already mentioned Font of Mythos and Everflowing Chalice, but our deck also contains Ivory Cup, Braidwood Cup, Chalice of the Void, Urza's Chalice, Bottled Cloister, and Eternity Vessel. None of these cards really help the deck out other than being theme-fitting cards for some comic relief in your EDH pod. But we're closing in on the end, so let's move right along to our support cards. Fervor is an enchantment that gives our creatures haste so we can swing out with them as soon as they hit the field. Goblin War Drums is another enchantment that essentially gives our creatures menace to help out with combat damage. Kedis Emberclaw Familiar make our commanders deal combat damage to each other opponent when they hit, allowing us to maximize on their combat triggered ability. Thassa God of the Sea can make our creatures unblockable and also lets us grind our upkeep. Coat of Arms will pump all of our pirates based on how many we have, while Jessica's Will is an all-out value card that can net us a ton of mana and get us 3 cards deep into our deck. As far as interaction, we've included Spell Swindle and Lookout's Dispersal as our pirate-themed counterspells. Deflecting Sop will also help negate any unwanted targeting, while Chaos Orb will rid of any problematic permanents. And we'll finish up with River's Rebuke to wash away an opponent's board if they're too far ahead. And with that, the deck is complete. How do you like our Drunken Sailors themed EDH deck? Let me know in the comment section below. If you'd like to see a complete deck list including lands, visit the TCG player link found in the description below. Remember, Common Command has its very own Discord server, so if you want to join in on the Magic Talk and help with future episodes, follow the Discord link in the description. And if you made it this far, Common Command is having its very first stream. On Saturday, February 13th at 11:30 AM, I'm letting you, the viewer, choose which decks I take apart and which new decks I make. So set February 13th into your calendar and make sure you make the stream. And lastly, a wonderful thank you to our Patreon.